Welcome to the Fit Dad Club podcast. My name is Travis Jones and I'm here with Jason Barrett. Jason, how are you doing today, buddy?
Doing fantastic, mate. I'm a little bit sore and battered after the gym, but that's the nature of the beast. If you go to the gym and you don't expect to get a little bit sore and a little bit, tight from time to time, it's not always going to be sunshine and rainbows. Sometimes you got to push through some difficulties. That just is what it is, man.
It is indeed, mate. And
how about yourself?
Myself?
Yeah,
I'm good, man. I'm good, doing my marathon prep to try and bust out a great time in the Gold Coast. So it's 12 weeks out now. So got a half marathon in Great Ocean Road in 4 weeks. I think it's 4 weeks from this weekend, which will be a good one. And then that will be my pacing. And then I've got the Launceston one, I think, a couple of weeks after that. So all rocking and rolling, mate, and trying not to lose muscle mass at the same time, mate. But it has been good. It is good, and it's been a good week. And today, guys, we're talking about 10 mindset hacks to make fat loss or your body transformation easier. So, if you want to sharpen the sword that is your mind, then that is today's podcast. And I feel like we all need a little bit of sharpening every now and then to make sure that we're not just being a little bitch. Because that tends to creep in. That little bitch version of us will creep in and just help us justify poor excuses or even procrastinate getting started. There's that person on your shoulder saying, oh, it's not a good time right now. It's like, dude, probably never will be the great time. Never be the right time, but it is time. If you are currently holding more weight than you should, it is time. If you're looking for a sign, me telling you it's time is the sign to get your shit together and quit being that little bitch that's saying, just wait, right? Your kids doesn't matter if you've got young kids, you've got old kids, you're always going to be stressing about your kids. Doesn't matter if time's a little bit financially pushed at the moment. It's like, just do your best, find a way, modify, quit your gym membership and get a coach, or don't get a coach and just try and be super disciplined and find someone to keep you accountable. But the time is now. Okay. And I think this is the first point that I wanted to talk about today is nothing will hold you back more than always thinking and never doing, right? People are always, and it's like I'm gonna, right? I'm just going to do this. I'm going to do that. Oh, I'm going to do this when it's the right time. I'm going to do that diet. Oh, I can't wait for when we move house. I'm going to go to the gym again. Oh, I can't wait for my daughter to start sleeping through the night. That's when I'm going to get back into routine. It's all lies. It's all lies. But the I'm gonna people never get it, right? So don't be I'm a goner because, goals.
Be a goner.
Yeah, you will be. You 100% will be. Because goals don't get achieved in your mind. They just don't. Like you have to sort of draw a line in the sand and action, right? Action alleviates anxiety, right? We need to start moving towards whatever that we need to do. We start eating better. Just start eating more vegetables. The average person should be eating 350 grams a day. Are you doing that? No? Okay, fantastic. The average person should be drinking under 2 alcoholic drinks a day. Are you doing that? No? Start doing that. The average person should be having 30 grams of protein every meal. Are you doing that? No? Start doing that. I just gave you 3 things. The average person should be doing 10,000 steps a day or minimum 8,000. Are you doing that? No, we'll focus on that. Okay, I gave you 4 things right then to focus on. I don't care. Don't pay us. Don't join a gym. Do those things instead take that action, all right? And it will start moving you forward because, then we get to a little bit of momentum and you're not going to do stuff now. You're doing stuff, right? Losing weight doesn't happen by accident. And it doesn't think about, what diet should I do? Just start eating less shit, right? Like literally, I've got to make sure that I'm prepping for the week and I don't have time to prep this weekend. So I will just start next week and they treat the next 10 days like it's an all you can eat buffet. It's from today, just start eating less shit. It's that simple. From right now, from listening to this podcast in this moment, right? Draw a line in the sand. If you've got a chocolate bar in your lunchbox at work, throw it in the bin. Give it to a homeless person on the street. I don't care what you do. If it's not in your plan, don't eat it, right? It's very simple. Oh, I'll be a bit hungrier. That's okay to be hungry. You haven't been hungry for about 10 years. That's the whole problem, right? It's okay to be a bit hungry sometimes. Gaining lean muscle mass doesn't happen by trying to find the exact perfect program. Gaining lean muscle mass is built by lifting heavy shit, 2 reps from failure, without even the most perfect one. So just go lift heavy shit with good form, close to 2 reps from failure, around 10 to 15 reps, and do that multiple times on a muscle that you want to grow, let's say your biceps, and over time, if you're eating enough protein, you're going to get bigger biceps. That's literally how simple it is. Just do it more frequently than you don't do it. So stop thinking and start doing. I think that is the biggest thing. The biggest mindset hack is to actually stop thinking and just take action. Yeah, like, dude, but I think and that's the thing, we procrastinate because we're always thinking too much. And then we think ourselves out of action.
Yeah, no, completely, man. The blame can't be. I don't want to put 100% of the blame on the people listening, right? I'll be the good cop while Trav is the bad cop a little bit. The industry is trying to confuse the shit out of you.
Yeah.
The industry tries to sell you on all the different. Oh, but you've got to be in ketosis, otherwise you've got to do fasted cardio, and you've got to do this. And there's no wonder that people get confused. But there is a base level of action that Trav has spoken about so far that you can do that has been proven in every arena to work. And you can just start with that. And you can start with the shit that you know is important. You know that burgers and pizza, probably not that good. I had a chat with one of my guys yesterday about sausages and the impact of those on a diet and how bad they are just from a calorie perspective and how much they load up. If you trade beef sausages for chicken or kangaroo sausages, that's an easy swap you can make. Trade any of your fatty meats for lean meats. If you're using fatty beef mince, use the extra lean beef mince. Like, these are easy swaps and easy changes that you can make. If you have a hard time having a healthy breakfast because you're on the go and you always get something on the go, fucking skip breakfast, right? If it's a meal that adds nothing but shit, just get rid of it. Keep your other meals the same. Guess what? You've just cut out 500 calories from your day. You'll probably start losing some weight. There are easy things to start doing, but we talk ourselves out of them because we want perfection, or we want the quote-unquote right plan. But the right plan is about starting right now and iterating it over time. Every single person's plan has got to be slightly different because it's got to take into account their circumstances. It's got to take into account their needs, their wants, their desires, their palate. Like, I don't eat fish. So when I give someone a plan, I don't often think about fish, but then they have it like, I'm just not a big fish person. I don't like the taste. But other people do. So their plan's going to be different from mine. Some people don't like to run. I don't like to run, but I do it anyway, right? My plan's going to be different from some people. So you've got to know that your plan is never going to be perfect. So stop fucking waiting for it to be perfect. One of my guys, I posted this on Instagram the other day. He started the program with us, and then his phone shut itself, and he wasn't able to use the app Keystone, which is a big part of what we do to help set targets and goals and training programs and that kind of stuff. And he couldn't use it. Do you know what he did? He stuck to the diet that he was on. He stuck to the eating. He started riding his bike to and from work, and he was down 6 kilos from his weigh-in. I was like, I feel like that might be a bit of an error, but 6 kilos in a week, fuck, we'll take it. But either way, he was down in weight without the perfect plan. Some of you listening will be like, oh, this my phone didn't work, so I couldn't download the app, so I just ate pizza instead because I couldn't access anything and nothing was working. And some of you would have been in that fucking victim mentality. Some of you would have been in that blame zone where you were looking for other reasons not to start. Nah, not my boy. He just fucking got the results without the plan, without the app, without any of the support. He didn't even have a way to message me about it until he got his phone fixed, and he's like, oh yeah, check it in. I'm doing good now. Like, cool. Be like him. His name's Alejandro. Be like Alejandro. Just get the shit done regardless of who's watching, regardless of what you've got available, because it's not about the resources. It's about how resourceful can you be.
I completely agree, mate. And I think a big thing that holds people back is the solution you're looking for is found in the work that you keep avoiding, right? So I want to achieve weight loss, but you're avoiding the gym. You're avoiding saying no to your friends for the beers. You're avoiding turning off Netflix at nighttime and actually getting adequate sleep. The solution you're looking for is always found in the work that you keep avoiding. You need to the more you lean into comfort, the worse you will feel. The more you lean into discomfort, the better you will feel. That's it at the end of the day. Yeah, it's uncomfortable waking up at 5 a.m. if that's where you have to wake up. It's uncomfortable waking up at 4 a.m. It might be uncomfortable waking up at 6 a.m. But that uncomfortable situation, by getting up and removing instant gratification out and getting out and moving, it's uncomfortable at the time, but it's the better you'll feel afterwards. the leaning into, okay, and again, if you follow the Fit Dad Instagram or Facebook, you can see Jace's meal. Your meals can be fantastic. But the more you lean into not overindulging with your food, and maybe if you're not a great chef, maybe blanding down your food a little bit, if you don't follow us, just keeping that calorie deficit, sure, can be uncomfortable, but the better you feel, the better you look. And then you can start to learn how to cook where it also tastes good, right? So I think you just have to understand that lean into discomfort that little bit more and you'll start to feel better. Stop avoiding the work. It's the biggest thing that holds people back is avoiding the work that they need to be doing.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Especially when it comes to the cooking and the food side of things, like you don't your taste buds and your food has been conditioned to these hyper palatable, really tasty, crunchy, yummy foods that you've just been conditioned to enjoying over and over and over again because that's what you did. You ate that food over and over, and and now your taste buds are expecting that level of tastiness all the time, and you're expecting that. But guess what? Not every meal needs to be a fucking 10 out of 10, right? Stop looking at food as a reward or food as a treat when you're not a dog. Food is fuel. It's energy for your body. And the quality of the fuel you're putting in is going to be a determinant of the energy you get out. Even if you don't lose any weight, if you change the quality of the fuel you're putting in, you're going to have more energy for your kids. What do you want more? You want to be able to play with your kids for longer? You want to feel stronger? You want to feel happier and healthier? Or do you want to feel like, oh yeah, I fucking love this bit of pizza or burger or whatever, which most of you don't actually enjoy because you just fucking shove it down your face too quickly. Now, when I say most of you, I obviously don't actually mean most of the people listening. There's probably plenty of guys who are listening who are on track with us. But what I'm trying to get at is you don't need to have that amazing taste sensation every time you eat. Food is fuel. Food is not a treat. You're not a dog.
And honestly, man, I talked to Liv about we went out on the weekend for dinner. And whenever we go out, to be honest, I prefer cooking at home so much more than eating out. 9 times out of 10.
Bro,
right?
tell me about it.
I prefer my burgers, and my calories on my burgers are pretty good rather than buying a burger out. I just do. I'll make myself a better smash burger, and my smash burger will be about 550, 600 calories, and it's so good. I prefer Liv's spag bowl at home rather than going out. She just does it so well. I prefer a steak, right? Sure.
Unless I'm going to a top-notch steak restaurant, if you and this is a lesson I learned: don't order steak if you're not at a steakhouse.
Dude, that's exactly it.
That's the worst thing because I'm like, I could have made this so much fucking better if it's so much cheaper.
I know. We're out on the weekend. I said that to Liv literally on Saturday night. It was a restaurant, wasn't a steak restaurant, and I was like, I feel like a steak, and just a rookie error. I just forgot. It's it's not a steak restaurant, but it's I looked at the menu. I was like, it's a $70 steak. I'm hoping that a $70 steak will, and it came out. It's like, man, I could cook this better myself, and I get this, and I was like, I could buy the same steak, and it'll be $20, $25, and it's not about pinching pennies or anything like that. But at the same time, if I can cook it better for a third of the price, it's I'd prefer just to sit at home with a glass of wine. If I have a glass of wine and have a steak and have some potatoes, and I'm happy.
Yeah,
right?
Don't have to drive anywhere afterwards.
I don't have to drive anywhere. So I was you can make the food if you can cook. And I think that's one big thing is a crucial, there's one thing you'll be doing for the rest of your life, and that's eating. Right? So you'll be breathing as well. But you're going to be eating for the rest of your life. So learn how to feed yourself well, learn about nutrition, learn about calories, learn about weight loss, learn about muscle gain, but then learn how to make food that tastes great, that isn't indulgent in calories, so you can always enjoy your food, because I think that's a huge thing. Now, the next one is easy things, hard life. Hard things, easy life. And it's simply a choice. You get to choose your suffering at the end of the day, guys. It's choosing your suffering, which is probably one of the biggest things. If you're constantly trying to please your current version of you with that instant gratification, you always let down the future version of you, because you're making their life harder. You're constantly pressing snooze right now. We're choosing the easy life. I'm going to press snooze, sleep in. I'm going to overindulge. I'm not going to go to the gym, don't have the energy. The longer you do that and trying to opt for the easy life right now, the life of comfort, then you're making the version of you 1 year, 5 years, 10 years from now, you're making their life harder. The more you choose the hard thing, getting out of bed, saying no to the beer, going and lifting the extra rep, right? The more you choose the hard life right now, the easier your life will be in 1 year, 5 years, and 10 years from now. So start choosing the hard life. Like, choose your hard, because it's all a choice, and you get to choose the version of you 1 year or 5 years from now. Except all of a sudden, 1 year, 5 years from now, we wake up and we're like, oh, I didn't choose this. It's like, yeah, man, like you choose to be 20 kilos overweight, or you choose to be fit and feeling fucking fantastic. And like, either way, you just got to own it. I chose this, and I can unchoose it or I can re-choose it.
100%, man. Like, I think that's the big thing I try to get for all my guys is choice. Regardless of what you're doing, make it a choice and own the choice. Don't say, oh, my coach said this, or oh, my friend said that, or this. No, you are an adult. You need to make your choices for yourself and for your goals. I told one of my guys, I'm like, all right, well, you now know how many calories is in, like, you know, a bit of chocolate or whatever, like whatever the bar was. I was like, now you know the choice. It's like, you can have a little bit more of that if you want to. That extra 300 calories, because he was a very all or nothing guy. I was like, knowing that extra 300 calories, if your goal is to lose a kilo a week, about 7,700 calories, that extra 300 calories, if you go over your goal, will probably set you back by 20 to 50 grams. That's not going to be much. Now, you know, all right, when you make that choice, okay, I'm going to set myself back slightly, but I'm okay with it. Now, you know, if you make that decision constantly, you're constantly going to be setting yourself back. But you've got to view all of your decisions within context, and you're making the choice. It's not like, oh, I just couldn't resist it. It's like, no, you chose to have it. Take ownership and empower yourself with the choice that you're making. And go, no, I am willing and I am making this choice because this is what I want to do, not because you feel forced to or not because you have to. It all comes back to choice. Choice is ownership. It is, you know, taking responsibility for your life, and it feels good to do that.
Completely agree, mate. And it's like, I think when we look at it, you aren't where you want to be because you're playing the victim card at the end of the day, and you're hoping that playing that card eventually may get you a different result. But it never gets you a different result, right? Until you accept full responsibility from where you are at right now and today, and the fact that, like, I did this and I accept the ownership around this. Until you do that, like, you'll never change, because you need to accept the fact that I need to fundamentally change who I am as a person and the actions that I do if I want to move forward and get the results that I want. Like, you have to change who you are. When you, at the moment, if you are overweight and you get stressed and it's been a hard week, and then you cope with overindulging in food and alcohol, that's someone you can't take forward, right? You have to fundamentally change that behavior trait. If you're someone who watches Netflix consistently, or Stan, or whatever subscription you have, you consistently, I don't want to just keep blaming Netflix. If you consistently are someone who watches 3, 4, 5 episodes every night, and there's so many people out there who will do it, and then they wake up tired all the time and they can't get out of bed and go and train, you need to fundamentally change who you are. Like, you're a 1 episode a night guy now. That's it. Right? Like just change that. You know, if you're constantly just complaining how tired you fucking are, one, everyone's over it, right? So stop complaining how tired you are. No one cares anymore. And like, you just to go, okay, I can't complain about something unless I'm doing something to actively fix it. If you're doing something to actively fix it, I'll let you complain until we're going through the iterations, as Jay said before. But if you're just fucking complaining for the sake of complaining to fill the air with your negative voice, like, dude, just shut your trap, right? Because you're not helping anyone else. All you're doing is you're bringing everyone else's vibration down, everyone else's frequency down to your level. Instead, it's like, okay, well, yeah, cool. You know, me and Liv, I think we talked when Jax was little, whenever we're tired, because we got into this habit of saying, I'm tired, and then Liv was like, I'm tired. And then, you know, when you talk to each other and say you're tired, and we start saying it to each other, we get more tired because we're not moving. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. So we had to say, like, I'm awake and feeling great. Like, we banned the word tired from our house. And it's like, whenever you're tired,
placeboed yourself into feeling it.
Dude, 100%. It's like, as soon as we felt tired, it's like, nah, I'm like, don't say it. It's like, instead we would say, like, I'm awake and feeling great. And we'd laugh, and at least it shifts our mood, and we just keep moving forward. So it's like, you have to ban certain, like, that's a fundamental change, right? But if we're the victim and we're constantly blaming external circumstances, people, environment, your job, like the fucking weather, right? Oh, I don't go and run because it's raining. And dude, like your skin's fucking waterproof. Like go and run.
You have a shower
It's
every
okay.
day.
You have a shower, exactly. It's like you can't blame other people or other things as to why you aren't doing it. You need to own it. You can't justify, oh, I'm overweight and 20 kilos overweight right now because life's just tough. It's like, dude, like I understand you have constraints, but a lot of other people's lives are tough and they have similar constraints, except they're getting it done. So instead of complaining and justifying, what you need to do is go, what are they doing that I'm not doing? And how can I maybe change my behaviors so that I could also do what they're doing as well? So be more, have a curious mindset rather than a fixed mindset. Like you want to be curious. Someone else is doing what you want to do and they have similar constraints. Like how are they doing that? Like what aren't they doing and what are they doing? Like that's going to shift you out of being a victim. So you can't make excuses. You can't blame. Like you can't justify. You simply take responsibility. You get accountability and you own where you are and where you're going to go. And if you start focusing on that, you'll take full responsibility of your life and the trajectory will completely change. But you have to divorce the old version of you to do that.
Yeah, and that's why we talk about the fat dad versus fit dad. It's that line in the sand, and it's saying, this is not the person I'm going to be anymore. Oh, I like to go down to the pub, but when I drink, I have a lot. All right, cool, you're not a drinker anymore. Right, you get to drink once a year. Choose your fucking day. If it's a wedding, it's your wedding or your birthday. Which one you can pick? All right, that's up to you. But if there are certain things about yourself that you know, like either out of your control, that you lose control with, or that you choose not to control, which is probably a better way to phrase it, then that's not who you are anymore. As Trav said, if you can't stop watching Netflix, then you don't fucking watch Netflix. You're a read a book before bed kind of person. You'll probably fall asleep way quicker and way better if that's the pattern that you started to do. But it all starts with knowing yourself, and like you've got to accept a couple things. You've got to accept, potentially some things about yourself, right? What is it? Give me the power to change the things I can, to accept the things I can't, and the wisdom to know the difference. That's where you've got to sit. You've got to sit in that place and know, well, what can I change? Most about yourself you can change. There are some things, usually, without surgery, your face, there are a couple of things that you just can't change. But most of the world are the things you can't change. Everything else that's happening, you can't change that shit. So there's no point in you sending energy out in that direction and sending energy out to, oh, why can't the world be easier? Why can't gym memberships be cheaper? Why can't weights be lighter? It's like, it's my favorite quote. I've said this before from Jim Rohn. Don't wish things were easier. Wish you were better. Don't wish for less problems. Wish for more skills. And that is the difference between the growth and the fixed mindset. If you can have the growth mindset and you can say, I'd love to have more skills to deal with this, guess what? You ask that question, it seems like a stupid question because the skills are all out there and the resources are all out there. We've got this podcast. We've got like 65 episodes of podcasts talking about health and fitness stuff. We've got a free group where you can jump in and ask questions. We've got Instagram posts and DMs. You've got so many different people and so many ways to grow. But because everyone is focused on, I wish the problems were less, it's like, well, guess what? You could fucking overcome the problems if you focused on the solutions that are out there. Or how could I find the solution? You ask yourself that question, it'll be pretty fucking quick to find the solution. The amount of shit people ask me in all areas of life that I then just Google and send back to them, like, as unresourceful people. I guess they're resourceful enough to ask me and I'm stupid enough to keep giving them the answer. But that's the level where a lot of people are at. So you've got to be willing to wish and work towards a better you.
Mate, it can't be more simple than that. I think, there's people out there with a solution for every problem, and that's the type of person you want to be. But there's also people out there with a problem for every solution. And that's the person you don't want to be, okay? Because if all you're looking at is the problems and the solutions you're providing, you're actually using that curious brain. You give someone a solution, and it might be like not exactly a square peg for the square hole. It might be like, an oval. It's like, okay, well, how can I make this fit? Okay, what do I need to do? Do I need to make the oval into a circle, or do I need to make the hole into an oval? Like, let's just find out how we can smash it through there. Sometimes it just takes a bit of smashing, right? It's like, but like you have to be curious. You need to go, well, how, if I had to do this, if I had to do this plan, how would I still do it given my constraints? And like, it's just asking yourself. The next thing is, it's like, guys, it's supposed to be hard. It's as simple as that. It's supposed to be hard. If your life was currently on a trajectory of gaining weight and you're 10 kilos overweight, you're 20 kilos overweight, changing the trajectory of anything. Because that happens is gaining weight. You're like, oh, I gained 2 kilos a year over the last 10 years. And I put on 20 kilos. There's a lot of momentum behind those habits. So it's like we need to, an object in motion tends to stay in motion. So you're in motion becoming fatter and more unhealthy and more closer to health-related diseases. So that's in motion. Not only do you have to slow that down and then shift in the complete different direction, right? Because some of us think, oh no, well, I'm starting from scratch, so it should be easy. So I'll just start laying habits on top of habits. It's like, no, you need to reverse those old habits and make them in zero motion and start new habits in positive momentum as well to actually get going. So it's hard, right? Stop trying to avoid the hard. Stop trying to look for the easy fix. Stop trying to look for the easy way, right? If you're looking for a fad diet to lose 10 kilos in the next 28 days, then in the next 56 days, you'll be the same weight at the start, right? You'll lose the 10, you'll gain the 10 back, right? Stop doing it. Or you can do it the right way and you might be 7 to 8 kilos down, which is in 56 days, and you'll probably hold it off because it's about a kilo a week, right? Like you can get there. But instead of trying to look for quick fixes and easy results, start looking for long-term solutions. But the thing is, long-term solutions are hard because you have to, again, fundamentally ask yourself, who am I and what do I need to change about me? Because it's changing you. It's not like I need to do this diet. It's like, no, I need to fundamentally change who I am, what I do, and some of my character traits to get the end result that I'm looking for. And I think, we have to stop avoiding the hard stuff because, it's in the hard where you build yourself into the person you need to become.
Anything
right?
worth having takes effort, takes challenge. And to be honest, we all like doing things that are challenging and things that are hard, right? We just call them, challenges that are complex. We get to use our brains. We get to think about them and we feel rewarded by doing them. Anything that comes easy, it goes easy. Think about winning the lotto and how many people lose that. It came easy. It wasn't earned. Right. And a lot of people, from a mindset perspective, do spend all that money because it wasn't because they think, oh, no, you've got to earn your money. Right. You can't just come into it easily. It's not allowed to be easy. Some people have that mentality. But then a lot of times guys will come to us and they'll actually start the program and be like, fuck, this is actually easier than I thought it would be because you build it up to be so hard. You think it's insurmountably hard. It's hard in a different way. It's simple. Right. And you can enjoy the process and do it. But you just got to do it day in, day out for quite a while to get the result that you want. That's the hard. The hard comes in 6, 10, 12, 18 weeks in when you're losing a lot of weight, right? That's when it starts to get hard and when you get certain social circumstances that come in as well. There's times when it's hard, but it's always you've just got to be aware of, all right, well, this is hard, but what's harder? Dealing with being overweight and not being able to walk around or move properly, not being able to be there for my kids as they grow up. That sounds fucking harder to me. I don't know about you. Harder than a workout, harder than going for some steps and choosing some protein. So you've got to contextualize it. That's the biggest thing. Yeah.
And I think the hard isn't actually the plan. The hard is the things around the plan. Right. So it's they're like, oh yeah. Cause the guys come on, it's oh, I'm enjoying my food. I'm fuller than I was beforehand, right? The workouts aren't that brutal, right? But I think the hard is saying no to the extra beer. I think the hard is not pressing snooze. I think the hard is coping with negative emotions or frustrations in a different manner. I think those are the actual hard things. The hard isn't actually doing the workout in the gym or eating the food. The hard is just saying no more often to things that don't serve you and saying yes to things that do. I think that's the actual hard. So it's an interesting concept with that. And I think the next one is discipline equals freedom, right? Jocko Willink said this in his book, and this is essentially the book, be disciplined, get freedom. That's the whole book boiled down into a summarized for you. So the more structure you create, the more freedom that you will have. The less structure, the more chaos, right? If you value goals, then you must have structure. If you have a goal, I want to lose 20 kilos. Well, you can't randomly lose 20 kilos. You need to have structure. You need to have calories. You need to have a meal plan that helps you hit those calories or meal choices. You need to have workouts that get a progressive overload. You need to have structure within your day to get your steps in. You need to have a weekly check-in point where you're looking, am I on track? Like, you need to have this structure, because then the structure that you're having en route to the goal, it gives you the freedom of achieving the goal. It gives you the trajectory that you push yourself on. So if not, you're like, well, if you don't have any structure, you would do a weekly check-in. It's like, did I lose weight? No, I didn't lose weight. Why didn't I? All of a sudden, chaos. Who knows why? You didn't track anything. You don't know why you did it and why you didn't. And it creates frustration. So discipline equals freedom of mind. And also it shows you what works and what doesn't work, so you can have the freedom to execute properly. You prioritize and execute from then on. And I think remembering, like, discipline is the key, and consistency, and boring, right? Be boring. Like have your meals that you love, but have them on rotation, right? Like, because then all of a sudden there's less choice. More choices, equals less discipline as well. So I think it's understanding, it's like, you value your goals, and you must value structure, and you must value routine. Like, be that 100%. Person.
Like, I had some guy comment on one of our videos, was like, like, I think I was commenting about alcohol or something like that. It's like, sorry, not all of us can be perfect. Sorry, I mean boring. No, it's boring. Sorry, I mean perfect. I was like, bro, like, choosing not to drink doesn't make you perfect, but it also doesn't have to make you boring. Like, if the only excitement in your life is alcohol, then fuck up, bro. Your personality sucks, right? Like, learn how to be a little bit more fun and enjoyable to be around, even when you're not drinking. Like, there's a gap there, but you've got to change your perception with these things, and be willing to let go of some of that stuff in order to create the best version of you, the best life that you want. And that comes from being disciplined. That comes from, being willing to say yes to the things and do the things that you said yes to, and don't do the things that you said no to, and say no to more things. Like, discipline is the highest form of freedom. Having a schedule, having a plan, and sticking to it, because it takes so much mental load off. It makes you not have to think about, like, I love my busiest days, because they're usually my days like blocked out with calendar slots. It flies by. Like, yesterday it was like hectic. I had to help, I had to drive my wife in to go get her car serviced and that. So I was like, all right, in between that, there was a lot of stuff that needed to get done. I had to film a thing and edit a video and post it and do all this kind of stuff. And I was like, it was like all happening. And by the time, I was like, at the end of the day, I was like, shit. All right, I got to cook dinner, got to film dinner, real dad dinner, the chili con carne. That one just dropped as well. If you're listening to this on the Monday, you should go check it out. But yeah, and again, a great meal that you can have for fat loss. Yeah. It was such a quick day, because it was structured, because it was scheduled, because I knew what I was doing when I was doing it. So I didn't have to think about it. Like, there was no mental, like, oh, what should I do? Where should I go? What's the next thing? It's like, no, you just fucking get shit done. And you got to do the same thing with your life. What meal am I going to eat? Doesn't matter. It's scheduled. It's in the fridge. It's labeled Tuesday. Eat it.
Exactly. I think it's because you get structured. It's less mental load, but you get more achievement, because you don't use any bandwidth saying, what should I do next? And that's with anyone, with business or work, or like the discipline equals freedom in your brain and creativity to be better in your job. I think, again, like we talk about alcohol a bit, and I'm not like, man, like, I had a couple of whiskeys on Saturday night, went out with Liv for dinner. We stayed at a hotel. Like, I had like 2 whiskeys. I was like, I'm not anti-alcohol. I'm anti-alcohol as a coping mechanism. Like, I like a nice glass of red, right? I do like a nice whiskey. I don't over-consume alcohol, because I do like waking up feeling fucking great, right? So I like waking up feeling great more than drinking alcohol. So that means if I do have a whiskey or 2 whiskeys, like, that's kind of me. Like, I'll just have a nice, neat whiskey, and I'll be like, yeah, that tastes good. I'll enjoy myself having this. But I'll do that maybe once a quarter, because I don't see the need. And that's being personal.
That's a choice, right? You're choosing to have it. When you have it, you're choosing to have it.
Yes. It's a choice. It's not because I have to drink to socialize.
Have to drink to put up with my
I can't
wife.
socialize. Yeah. It's like to put up with my hard week, I had to drink, or to socialize with my friends, I have to drink, or to be the fun version of me, I have to drink, right? Like, none of those things have to happen for me to be any of those versions. Like, I have a whiskey when I feel like, I feel like having a nice whiskey, like, and that's it. And there's no ulterior motive directing me to make that choice, right? I think that's a big thing. Now, everyone out there right now, it doesn't matter where you are in your journey, okay? The version of you that got you here is not the version of you that will get you to where you want to go. The version of you that got you here is not the version of you that will get you to where you want to go. I think we all have to understand that. There is a 2.0 version of us. There is a 3.0 version of us. There is a 4.0. Okay, so we should always be trying to move the version of us forward. We need to optimize our character traits. We need to optimize our behaviors. We need to try and drop off the lag and trying to add on more armor, right? Like we want to try and continue to push us forward as best as we possibly can and like define who we are. Because, you know, as your kids grow up, yeah, the version of you will keep shifting. It's like, oh, at the moment I'm training, I'm not training with my kids, and then they can start moving forward. I was like, okay, the version of me now is the best version of me. It's like, I'm running so I can run with my kids. And maybe, you know, the version of you 10 years from now is like, I'm going to lift so I can beat the boys up that come down to try and date my daughter, or I'm lifting with my kids, right? Like whatever it is, right? But the version of you that got you here is not the version of you that will get you there. So be open to continual and constant, never-ending improvement. You have to be open to it because, you know, we need to always become the next best version of us.
It's like you're an evolving human being. You're constantly evolving. You're constantly learning. And if you are just staying the same, that's the equivalent of dying and going backwards, basically, because the world is growing with you as well. Things are changing rapidly. Like you've got to be willing to do more to keep up, to be that little bit better, to be, you know, even if it's only 1% growth, like, you know, you just, all you need to do is beat inflation. Basically, that's all you need to do. You just need to be that little bit better each day. And as Trev's saying, it's like you are, in order for you to be like the goal of having a goal and achieving the goal is not the end result. It's about who you become in the journey to get there. It's about being the person who's capable and worthy of achieving that goal. Because we all want a six-pack, but you're not actually capable of it or worthy of it until you get it, usually, or until you're like a couple of weeks out, because then you've developed the disciplines and you've become the person who can make that a reality. But until you get to that point, you're not that person. So you've got to reflect on, all right, well, even if it's once a week, what's one thing this week I can either work on dropping and stopping doing in order to move forward, right? It's equally as effective as putting your foot on the accelerator is taking your foot off the brake. What's one thing I can stop doing, or what's one thing I can start doing to make myself a slightly better person or move me forward a little bit more in this direction? That's it. You focus on those things, guess what? Over the year, you've now gotten rid of 26 negative things, right? I'm sure if you don't know that you have that many, your wife probably does, and she'll tell you exactly which 26 to get rid of. Or you've got 26 more things now positively that you are doing that you've taken a week to implement each one. It doesn't have to be much, right? It might be, all right, I'm going to, this week I'm going to focus on putting the towel, like hanging the towel back up properly, the floor mat after I've had a shower. That's going to be my positive thing, right? All of these little things that you can do to just be a better person, but they require you actually being willing to change as a person.
Be willing to change, right? And the next thing is you need to stop lying to yourself, okay? Yeah, we're talking about a bit of victim mentality before, but it's like if we just stop lying to ourselves, like the world isn't out to get you. I think everyone needs to understand this. The world's not out to get you, guys. All right, you know, no one's conspiring against you. No one is conspiring against you. The work that you need to do also doesn't care about your feelings, right? It doesn't care about your feelings, right? If you aren't where you want to be, that's simply because of you, right? Stop lying, right? Because no one owes you anything, right? And also, no one is coming to save you. Like if you just can repeat that, no one is coming to save me. I must save myself. So, and the world isn't out to get you, right? Just you want to say that because it makes you feel better from where your current situation is, right? Because it's better to say, oh yeah, the world's out to get me. Why does all this bad luck happen to me? And when people do good, oh, it's lucky for them, right? No, it's lucky for anyone who does the work, right? That's where the luck comes. The luck comes to people who do the work, and like regardless of how they feel. So just stop lying to yourself, please, and you will start getting a result.
Like, we lie to ourselves to keep ourselves safe mentally because we don't like to feel like we've failed or we've let ourselves down or we've let other people down or we're going to get judged or whatever. All of that stuff, right, is kind of bubbling up in our mind when we think about, when we think about that and the reason why we, potentially just curb the truth a little bit when we're talking to ourselves. But the best And the most productive thing you can do is to have radical candor with yourself, to have extreme level of honesty, and not to beat yourself down, but you've got to understand the intent is to, lift you up. It's the same thing that Trevor or I would say to you on a coaching call, like we would with any of our guys, like, bro, like, right now, the way you're showing up is just not, like, that's not enough. Like, what the fuck's going on? Like, that's not an excuse. That's not enough of a reason to do this. Let's pick yourself back up and just get fucking after it. Like, it's not about beating yourself up or tearing yourself down at every opportunity. It's about saying, no, like, all right, where am I actually at? Where am I really at right now? Because I can lie to myself, oh, yeah, I'm planning on doing this. It comes back to that whole goner syndrome. You're not going to do any of that stuff. If your track record has been no, that you haven't done that stuff, you're probably not going to start miraculously now. You need a bit of a help. You need a bit of push. And it's okay to accept that you might need some help, because it's a confusing space for a lot of people. That's why we try to put this stuff out there to help make it simple.
Agree. Now, this is the last one I want to, maybe the last one. Like, there's so many people out there, you want to do a half-assed job and get an outstanding result. And that's not how it works. And when I say a half-assed job, it's like, I get frustrated with participation trophies with kids. I think there shouldn't be. There's winners and losers, right? But the problem is, and I think maybe a lot of people out there might agree with me, but you want a participation trophy for doing a shit job with your weight loss. And that doesn't happen either. So stop trying to be like the kid who gets the participation trophy and start by being like the kid that's a fucking winner, right? Because hitting your nutrition 4 days out of 7 is only hitting it 57% of the time. Like, 57% doesn't give you a medal. Like, it just doesn't. Stop acting like it should. Stop acting like 57% is good, because it's not. It's pretty dog shit, right? Yeah, it's better than 30%, but it's not as good as 85%. Now, 85% is 6 days a week. And 85% isn't better than 100%. Yeah, if you're currently 57, make it your goal to get to 85. If you're currently 85, make it your goal to get to 100. Because you get the medals, which is weight loss, by actually winning. And winning, you're never going to win with a 57% result. So stop acting like you should start getting these results, right? Like, people get so fucking butthurt and upset with the results they didn't get from the work they didn't do. It's like, no, you didn't do it. You tracked your 4 days a week this month, right? You tracked your nutrition 16 days out of 30, right? That is not good, right? And if you can say that's not good, and I can say that's not good, we can agree that you shouldn't have got the result you're after. And now we can also agree that next month we got to hit 24 days out of 30. And that's okay. So I think that's a big thing we all have to come to terms with.
I was chatting to one of my guys the other day. He's like, he was going untracked for a little bit. I think he was on holiday, or he was away for a bit. And then he came back. He's like, oh, yeah, like he hadn't really gained much weight. I don't think he gained really anything. But he came back. He's like, oh, just a bit annoyed. Probably would have liked to be a little bit lower. I'm like, what the fuck do you mean you'd like to have been a little bit lower? You didn't track. You drank beers. You didn't train. What do you mean? Oh, I would have liked to be a bit lower. Like, fitness wasn't your focus while you were away on your trip, was it? Oh, not really. Cool. So you haven't done shit towards your fitness. Why the fuck are you coming to me, talking to me, expecting, oh, I wish I should have been a little bit, I'm disappointed I'm not a little bit lower. It's like, why the fuck would you have been lower? You didn't put the required amount of effort in together. They say, oh, yeah, no, you're right. It's like, yeah, no shit, I'm right, bro. That's what I'm here for. But like, people have these warped expectations. Like, even if you just like have been following a plan for a bit, and if you're not on plan, or even if the plan's shit and you're not getting the result, oh, how come I'm not lower down? Or how come I'm not this? How come I'm not that? They're always looking at what's missing as opposed to what they have got. I'm like, man, you just went away, drank a bunch of beers, came back, and you're the same weight. Most people can't do that. Most people do that and they gain a kilo. That's fucking huge, right? So a lot of people are focused on, what am I missing out on? They're missing out on results, or they're missing out on progress. No, that's not the case. You've not put in the effort for those results, or you've gotten a result that you just don't appreciate, and you've not really, patted yourself on the back for, or you're not willing to acknowledge as still a good result.
Man, 0.5 kilo a week for a year is 26 kilos. Like, just be consistent. At the end of the day, guys, just be consistent. And even like doing the work sometimes won't get you the result. I think it's helping you understand that, but then you have to have the understanding of what to do. I was talking to one of the boys in the gym the other day. He was like 7 kilos down, and he's like every week, he's like, okay, this is good, this is good. And then one week he didn't get a result, and I was like, okay, we'll give it one more week. And the next week he was the same. So his weight went sideways. He's like, well, why that I followed it for the first 7 weeks and then I lost a kilo every week. Then now for the last 2 weeks, I haven't lost any weight. I was like, well, your metabolism will decrease to the new version of you. So what we've found out is you're 7 kilos lighter and your basal metabolic rate has changed. So your daily energy expenditure has changed. So all we have to do is, because you're tracking and because you're doing the work, now we can make a calculated decision to then change your calories. And then we changed his calories. He started losing the weight. Over the next 2 weeks, he got to his goal weight. He hadn't been since his 20s. He was like his mid-50s. And he's like, oh my gosh, I didn't know it was that simple. He's like, what do we do now? I'm like, we lift the calories back up because you're not in a deficit anymore. And you get to eat more food. And you get to hold your weight loss that you achieved. He's like, fuck, this is amazing. And it's like, yeah, he's 50 years old and learning this, which is amazing that he's learning it now. But whoever's out there, you want to be learning this as soon as possible so you can have control over your health. Because that's what it is at the end of the day. It's control over your health. You get to gain back control, right? You're not doing random fucking diets based on random marketing. Like, it's complete control of making decisions that you know get specific outcomes that you want. You want to gain muscle mass? Do this. You want to lose weight? Do this. You hit a plateau? Do this. You want to get stronger? Follow this. You want to get faster? Run like this, right? Guys, it's all data. That's what it is. Data and execution of plans. So the last thing I wanted to talk about today was, life is won and lost in tiny battles, right? So tiny battles that you have every single day. But these battles are compounded over years, right? So if you want to know where you'll end up in the next 10 to 20 years, is your weight going up slowly or going down slowly every month or every year? Has over the last 10 years? Do you make it to the gym more times than you don't each week, right? Do you overindulge in food more than you don't? Do you overconsume alcohol more times than you don't? Do you say no more times than yes when someone offers you the cake, right? Do you stay up watching Netflix late at night more often than going to bed and getting adequate sleep? It's not 1 week of bad habits or 1 week of good habits that either creates a good life or destroys one, right? It's the consistent habits over the next 5 weeks, which predicts exactly where you'll end up. 520 weeks, 10 years time, the consistent habits, not the 2 whiskeys, okay, every quarter, not the I feel a bit injured right now, my back, so I'm missing out on a couple of gym sessions. No, it's the next 520 weeks. What do you do more of and what do you do less of? And these tiny habits either create the best version of us or the less than best version of us, the fit dad or the fat dad. And to achieve your goals, you need to destroy that current version of you, if that is the fat dad version of you, and then change the trajectory over the next 520 weeks, because the next 10 years will pass, right? They just will. And you could dedicate, each week for the next 520 weeks on becoming the best version of you. And, that sometimes is just saying no to a couple of things. And, like on vacation, you used to do this, now you do this, right? And it's not all or nothing, you don't have fun. It's like, no, well, on vacation, I used to get plastered every single night and, it was my week of boozing. It's like, maybe that's not the best version of you and what they do, right? It doesn't mean you can't get drunk at a wedding, right? But it doesn't mean you get drunk every weekend, right? So it's a difference between at a wedding and end up every weekend. Like you just press snooze less times than less times. And you wake up earlier, more times. Like, it's simple things. It's tiny battles. But you need to start to win the tiny battles to win the war against the not good version of you, the fat dad, versus the best version of you, the fit dad. And you get to choose, am I going to win this war? Okay, it's winning battle week after week and to win the war over the next 10 and 20 years.
For me, I think that's a really good place to wrap it up. I like it. Win the war.
So guys, win the war, one battle at a time, and every week is a battle. So if you need help in winning the battle on the weekly basis, go to fit-dad.club. That's fit-dad.club. You can, book in a call. We can talk about where you are and where you want to be and what's holding you back and create a plan for you to get there, to become the best version of you. If you want to do that, go to the website. If you want to just leave a great comment on this podcast, wherever you're watching it, YouTube podcasts, Apple, Spotify, wherever it is, leave us a comment, leave us a review, do 5 stars, do 1 star, create a comment, send to a friend. I don't care what you do, just do something, right? Remember, action, right? Create a action from this, okay? Positive or negative, I don't care, as long as you do something. At least you listened. And that means you're going to create people. Remember, stop thinking, start doing. So do something about reviewing this podcast. Until next week, guys, you guys have a great week. Jace, thanks again for another stellar podcast. And I can't wait to talk to you next Monday, guys. Peace out.